Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. Videos at the bottom. I didn't do too many videos this last week, but the videos that we did have did pretty well. We had the screenshots for 3.5. We had the, what was the other thing? The other big, we had the red mage. No. We had the blue mage bestiary. And then we had, there's one more video, the trailer reaction and breakdown. So all those are pretty good videos. I'll make sure that those are at the bottom. Man, we're 9 days away from the live recording, 8 days from the YouTube playing of the video. And I'm looking forward to 3.5. The story just looks like it's going to be top quality when it comes to this. And hopefully it sets a good precedent for the expansion. Now, a few quick disclaimers. One, there are a ton of questions. So, I may not get to every question, in the sense that if someone asks 2 or 3 questions, I may not get to them all. 2, I'm going to minimize the amount of editing that I actually do. So you're going to see me scroll through the questions and kind of just speed through, all right, on to the next one, scroll down, stuff like that. Because I have 30-ish questions to get through on the YouTube side of things, and I've got questions on the Twitch side of things, and I probably won't even get to a lot of those Twitch questions. So I'll probably limit it to the first question of each person being asked. And I've seen there's some questions here that are like, I have this theory on this, just as a reminder. Whenever I generally get those questions, I tend to not really enjoy answering them, because it's ultimately a, do you like it, do you not like it? And it's not really an engaging question. And I saw that there's at least 1 or 2 of them here in these questions. So any editing you might see might just be me skipping past one of those questions, just as a forewarning. So anyway, let's get into the questions. I've already got the first one lined up right here. Just have to turn it on. That's the magic that you don't usually see on the YouTube side of things. Hey, Mr. Happy, sorry no bonus. I beat the last boss with join and prop. What does that mean? I still get the bonus? Come on now. I'm returning from a long break. Played 3.0, beat Alex, quit before I beat the final turn of Bahamut and quit. Okay. Short backstory, played 11 for 15 years. That's impressive, considering that Final Fantasy 11 has only been out for 15 years from Japan, starting this year. That's impressive. The game hasn't, I think it just hit its 15, I know Final Fantasy 11's 15-year anniversary is this year, since the Japanese release. So yes, according to this, you've played since the 50 cap in the Japanese release. That's fucking crazy, because it has literally been exactly 15 years. You, sir, are nuts. I never got to play the level 50 pre-Rise of Xylar, because I didn't play it until I got it on the PS2 here in North America. Solid. Coming back at 3.0, I've noticed they seem to be taking away odd playstyles. I understand not wanting to throw balance out the window, but why can't example Red Mage be given Cure 1 or Cure 2 without healing? Quite frankly, because it doesn't make sense. There's no reason for a pure DPS to be given as part of their job's main role Cure 1 or 2. The only reason Summoner even has Physic is because they had the whole Arcanist branching off into Scholar and Summoner thing. And a Summoner's Physic isn't exactly a whole lot to be excited about. It doesn't actually create any meaningful gameplay choices. It doesn't create any sort of opportunity, and it's basically putting development into adding skills to a job in which it will almost never use. In fact, the expansion is trying to undo that. Those skills that are almost never used are being revisited, potentially removed. Things like Feint, things like Featherfoot, or they might be changed to be more useful. We don't know what their exact process is going to be. Hopefully we get more details about that soon, although I don't think we'll be getting details on the changes to class or job abilities till at least April or May. So, I mean, that's just simply the reason why. Those tiny hybrid choices are usually in your cross-class skills, and those are almost never really a meaningful choice when it comes to the, hey, I've got Foresight as a Dragoon. Yeah, you could use it as a defensive cooldown in terms of, like, off-tanking. And don't get me wrong, A10 Savage, they did a 0-tank A10 Savage with Dragoons tanking it, and Foresight was a godsend in that case. But that's not something that you should really kind of be expected to do. So I don't really expect there to be anything in the way of this when it comes to those odd playstyles. There's not really much a place. I've got like a sore spot right here, and I don't know why. So if you see me doing this throughout the video, I apologize. I don't know why. It's just sore right there for some reason. Anyway, moving on to the next question. This is also what happens, what you don't usually see on the YouTube side of things, but the save time here should be good. Howdy, Mr. Happy. This is becoming a weekly thing for me. I've highlighted my actual question below a bold this week more than ever. That is important. So let me just go right to the bolded spot right here. I know NieR Automata is on your list of 2017 March, but tell me your thoughts on it so far. I'm new to the series, but I've played the demo. I mean, it's pretty much what I'd expect out of Platinum games in terms of action combat. You can shoot and attack at the same time. It's pretty satisfying, and it's almost, to me, when I think of it, it's almost more bullet hell than anything else. As opposed to like a traditional action game. When I see it, I think of like a three-dimensional Toho game, you know? So it's really good. It's really well put together. Everything flows very smoothly. There's decent character customization and a good variety of difficulties, which we all know that if you want a serious challenge, you're going to go for the one-hit kill and die all the time mode. So I'm excited for NieR Automata. It should be pretty good, but we got to see how the game is experienced as a whole, because sometimes demos are good and then the whole game experience isn't really all there. And that's what we don't know yet, but I have confidence NieR Automata is going to turn out very, very well. Moving in. On a completely separate note, you wanted to thank me for my 2016 video. Thank you for all the content this year. Prior to the last 6 months, I just used your 14 battle guides. But as of 2016, progressed your content. Really became, a staple in my life. Subscribe to my first YouTube channel. Let notifications happen on my phone so I keep up with your release. You know, I don't know how many people actually do the whole notification on the phones. I always kind of expected that, like, not many people did notifications on the phone for YouTube, because I imagine that's got to be obnoxious. But if you're not subbed to anyone but 1 or 2 people, I guess it wouldn't really blow up your phone really all too much. It would be something to look forward to. So thank you for supporting the channel the way that you have, and hopefully 2017 is an even better year. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. Oh, and you're on Gilgamesh as well. Look at that. Killtastic Jones. Killtastic Jones. All right. Hey Haps, Red here. I'll probably be a regular going forward. Anyhow, question time. Do you think the Glamour system in 14 should be less restrictive? So I have opinions of the Glamour system, and that's that the entirety of crafting glamours and the way that the glamours are. I look at a game like Guild Wars 2 or World of Warcraft and the way their glamour system works, or WildStar, pretty much any MMO that's come out in the last 5 years, and the way they've done glamour. Ours is so primitive, the way that it's done. And yes, I understand it's great that it opens up a market for the glamour prisms. It is a new market, and that is a positive of the way that we have it done. But because of the inventory management that needs to be done, glamours can very often be pretty annoying for us in Final Fantasy XIV. As for restrictive in terms of role, honestly, I don't know what the big deal is anymore. You already see tanks in bikinis. At that point, once that starts happening, does it really matter what the restrictions are on glamour in the first place? I guess it is pretty annoying if you have a tank who's in straight up white mage gear, because that's just visually confusing. But I mean, if you're trying to preserve that tanks wouldn't wear light armor, then the bikinis doesn't make any sense either. So honestly, yeah, I don't really see a need to make it restrictive outside of the confusion it may cause to newer players. Moving on to the next question. All right, we had a theory question. Move past that. We're going to move on to the question after that. Haps, first-time poster, avid listener on YouTube, so have a bonus of no more RMTs. There have not been that many. Gilgamesh is a hard server for the RMTs to get onto. Here's a roulette. So let's see. We've got the roulette. I can only take one, obviously, and the patch drops on your birthday. Nice. So Spider-Man for fun, Astral Time. Let's go with for fun, because we're trying to be fun here. Are you going to try out Red Mage? You know, I told my static that if our caster DPS leaves the static prior to Stormblood, I am taking that spot as quickly as possible. I'll play whatever I need to now so I can play Red Mage later. I would very much like to get my hands on Red Mage. Obviously, this is kind of like early rose-tinted glasses, kind of like, oh yeah, it's going to be the greatest job. You know, it's kind of a little bit of that, because we literally don't know how the job actually plays other than 12 seconds of footage and 33 seconds of showing off a fancy hat and a magic medium. So, you know, it is what it is, but yeah, I definitely want to give Red Mage a try. Moving on to the next question. Hola, Mr. Happy. First time asking, so I have a choice of loot from the new 24-man when the patch ups. You know, the thing is, I really don't need a lot of it, but if I'm going to take anything, I'll probably tank, as long as it doesn't have parry on it, I'll probably take the tank body. That's probably the first thing that I'll be looking for on week 1. So last week you were talking about RPGs and what you like about them. So I wanted to ask if you ever played Grandia. I have not. I've watched a friend play some of Grandia, but I've never owned the game. Grandia is one of those games I never really got my hands on because I was stuck. I was just, when I say stuck, I was like obsessed with Final Fantasy XI. And I just like, yeah, I'm not buying other games. I've got this game. This is the game I play. I will never, that's it. That's all it is. But I've heard great things, and I have nothing poor to say about it. And it's a game I would like to visit at some point, but no, unfortunately, I have not played it, so I cannot further comment on the title. Hey, Mr. Happy, been watching your videos for a while now. First time asking some questions. I'm only going to do the first question because of the sheer volume of questions that we have this week. So 1, in Final Fantasy XIV, do you ever go into content in the Duty Finder, roulettes perhaps, and get people who are so set in their ways they won't take advice or seem to enjoy annoying others? Any recent stories? Oh yeah, that has happened to me so many times. I mean, honestly, the most common one is black mages when they first get Fire 3, Blizzard 3, and they don't really understand how it works. And they just go Fire 3, Fire 3, Fire 3, Fire 3, transpose Blizzard 3, and then Blizzard 3, Blizzard 3, Blizzard 3, transpose Fire 3. Like, and you try to tell them, like, hey man, just so you know, like, you don't try to be rude about it. You just go, hey man, just so you know, you're not really supposed to spam those. Those are really just for switching between Astral Fire and Umbral Ice instead of using transpose. You pretty much still use Fire 1 and Blizzard 1 in place in those ice forms, like where you're spamming it. And you try to tell them that, and half the time, all you get in return is either dead silence and no improvement in play, or shut the fuck up. And I've seen both of those. I have also seen a black mage literally go, wow, I didn't know that. I was using it all wrong. Thank you. I have seen that. But it's the least common thing I've seen in that exact situation. And that's more times than any, it's been black mages learning how to use Fire 3 and Blizzard 3 where I've had to kind of try to give some advice, and I've seen either complete ignorance or complete disregard or just not reading chat. Whatever it is it might be, that is definitely the situation where I've seen it the most. And unfortunately, I got to skip the second question and move on to the next one. But you could always ask it again next week. And if it's the first question, then no matter what, I'm guaranteed to get to it, right? Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. First time question here. Yay. Where's my bonus? Where is it? That's fine. I was watching your Bestiary series, and I noticed a common theme. You talk about your subject through the main series and usually had a blurb to say about them, but consistently when you get to 11, you talk how deep the lore is, how great the story is. That's a result. I've had people bring this up before. That's a result of other games actually having lore. Half the time in the Final Fantasy series, when a job or a theme appears, it's given no explanation. In an MMO setting, everything is given an explanation. So with that in mind, it's like, this character is a blue mage. Okay, but I don't need to talk about that character because this isn't about the character. It's about the job that the character is. A good example is the blue mage one. We had Strago Magus. He is the official blue mage. I know some people like to consider it Gao. But Gao is technically, his job is classified as feral youth, whatever the hell that means. And Strago, depending on the translation, is either lore master or blue mage. That is his official designation in Final Fantasy VI. And I sent, here, Strago is a blue mage, and that's what it is. He's one of the characters in the story, but I don't need to then say, hey, Strago is the grandfather of this one character who knows this other character. He's from this background. It's not about him. It's about the job that he is. When it comes to Final Fantasy XI, the job itself, blue mage, I could have gone into so much detail about how the Immortals were, at constant odds with the Corsairs, and that ends up happening a lot of the time. It's because the MMOs provide a deeper and richer explanation of what that character is doing in the world. And which is why when people talk about Final Fantasy 15 being sort of having like less explanation of certain things, I kind of think back, and a lot of things are unexplained in a lot of Final Fantasy games. They just throw a character in there that from another Final Fantasy, go, cool, that character's here. Whee! And no one complains about it. But then in 15, when the big character pops up and you're just like, what the hell does that guy have to do with the story? Then everyone's got some shit to say. But at that point, it's like, why did you even show me that in the first place? It's really confusing to me. But that's normally why the Final Fantasy 11 and 14 sections can appear longer, is because there is actually more to talk about that is directly involved in the job and how it belongs in those worlds. Hopefully that's an adequate answer. That is why 11 and 14 generally get more love in the Bestiary series as well. Moving on to the next question. Haps, hope you're having a great day. Long-time viewer, first-time asker, so have a bonus of unlimited tomestones. I love you. And whatever you need till the expansion launches. I'm German, by the way, so sorry if my English is not 100% right. You could have fooled me. First part was perfectly fine. My first question, and it will be the only question that I'm able to take, as I stated earlier. My first question, I'm currently studying English and math, and one of my literature courses in English is about Harry Potter books. Our final exam will be an essay of about 10 pages on any topic that is somehow related to the Harry Potter series. I thought about writing about the depiction of dragons and compare them to dragons from other series. My ideas so far were Smaug from Lord of the Rings, that's a good choice, and dragons of Asian mythology. Now, my sister has brought up that the whole Ishgard versus Dragon War was an idea, which I was a very good one. Of course, I need to double check that with my teacher, but as I recently found out, she plays the game herself. Wait, are you talking about your sister or your teacher? So I don't think she'll say anything against it. Yeah, your teacher plays Final Fantasy XIV. Oh, dude, you just got the easiest A. Are you kidding me? You don't even need to ask. Surprise her. As far as I'm concerned, you're good to go on that front. As soon as your teacher plays Final Fantasy XIV, you can write a paper that talks about dragons in Final Fantasy XIV, okay? I don't think you really need any ideas or tips. I think you just need to straight up say, hey, I want to write about the war of Ishgard versus the dragons and the 1,000-year conflict. And there you go. And you're good. That's it. That's all you need. Just throw that out there and you are good to go, my man. I do not think you need my advice for this as much as you think you do. So just throw it in her face and see if she says yes or no. I mean, that's really all it's going to come down to. All right, next question. Hey, Happy. Scroll a little past it. This isn't really a question, but a mind experiment. Okay, that's different from a theory, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and read this. All right? I think Yoshi P said something about us visiting the Garlean Empire's earliest 5.0. That is accurate. Now, I had an idea of Dancer. Dancers could be a slavery class in the Garlean Empire, secretly trained combat, same as it happened with Caporia. What do you think about Dancers being a job? Okay, so the question itself is just literally, what do you think of Dancers as a job? You're not asking me, do I think it's Dancer in the trailer? You put an idea out there, but that's not what the question is. So I can accept this, and I will answer it. I think Dancer as a job is a very strange choice, and it definitely needs some work to make sense in Final Fantasy XIV. Alamegans being combat dancers is a very, very feasible thing, or anyone being a combat dancer. Don't get me wrong, you can make it make sense. I personally am not someone who's thrilled or excited or anticipating the idea of the job at all. And honestly, people have this expectation, maybe it's this hybrid, melee healer, support. If it's going to be one role, no matter what it is. Does it go healer? Hard to tell. Dancer's got some supportive skills, but why couldn't it also be DPS? And then also, why couldn't it be tank? It literally could go in any direction, and personally, I don't think it's an interesting enough job to warrant putting it into Final Fantasy XIV without, like, kind of removing its unique identity and just making it so, well, yeah, they dance. We're getting a dancing emote. We got dancing emotes. I can dance. Look. See? There we go, dancing like I'm at the disco, you know. And now they're dead. The enemy's dead. I did it. I don't know. I'm not very invested in the idea of Dancer as a job, and I have zero expectation of it in this expansion. Hashtag 2 monks. Moving on to the next question. Oh my God, it's in all caps. He happy bonus is a jar of cookies, chocolate chipped. Okay, maybe the German guy wrote this question instead of the other one. Is Viking job class doable in Stormblood? You know what's funny? I actually did think Viking was a possible job in Stormblood, mostly because a lot of the terminology of Stormblood is very Viking-esque. But no, I don't think we'll see. I don't think Spider-Man's Viking. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no. But Viking as a job, you know, they're a tank. They're almost kind of warrior-esque. In a sense, although they don't use the two-handed axe, but they are it'd be a tank. That's kind of where it would probably fit. With a hammer, sure, why not? But it is what it is. I don't know. I don't think it'll happen. Next question. Let's see. Good afternoon, Mr. Happy. I've not asked a question in a while, so allow me to play catch up. Good sir. Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, and Happy New Year. Minus the Happy Birthday, unless your birthday's been in the last 2 weeks. All the same to you. I found myself once again drawn to bird farming. I was an avid pony collector in 2.5, and I love my Kieran mount. I just got Ravana's yesterday, and the itch to get, and I have that itch back now that I've got one bird. I've only cleared him in Bismarck. I still need to clear Thorin, Nidhogg, Sephiroth, and Sophia, soon to be Zervan as well. My question is, in what order should I farm birds from easiest to hardest? So, Ifrit, yeah, the Ifrit bird. Yeah, sorry. Bismarck, Ravana, and Thorin. If you kill them 99 times, you are guaranteed the mount. You can trade in the tokens you get from each kill and trade those in for a mount. I think those should be your first step because you could possibly get them out before the 99th kill, but they will guarantee you a mount after 99 kills. So I think those are your best bets. After that, Nidhogg's mount is pretty stingy, and getting people to farm him is just as stingy, but he would probably be my next bet, followed by Sophia, followed by Sephiroth. Zervan probably going to be the last one, although it is the newest one, so if you can get in on killing the extreme primals early enough and you get to Zervan, that would probably be one of the easier ones to do because it's a more recent piece of content. In terms of difficulty, though, Thornton, even with the item levels, he's got a lot of mechanics that can kill people very easily. So he will probably be one of your tougher opponents. Nidhogg, Sophia are both pretty easy, and Sephiroth, people can screw it up and make it a lot harder than it needs to be. But in general, with the item level boost over the majority of these fights, minus Sophia, you just burn through these fights in like no time at all. So you'll probably be okay. Moving on to the next. Oh, this one's got pictures. Hi, Happy. Have a mount of your choice. I don't even, honestly, given the choice, can I get Red Fenrir like we never got? I'll take that. Hi, okay, so we have ponies, and that's a pony. Okay. And birdies. Okay, we have birdies, as you guys can see. So, damn it. So my question is, what manner of flying mount would you like to see next? I'm not very particular, but honestly, your idea here of an elephant with a balloon, you know what? I'll take that. I like that idea. I will, you know what? I hope that the Stormblood flying mounts are different. You know what? Make it the same elephant, but just make it a different color balloon, to be honest. Like, you have the... I'm colorblind. I'm not going to start... You know what? I'm not even touching the color of this picture. Nope, we're moving on. That's it. That's going to be the one. Okay? This is what it's going to be. All right? I have complete confidence that that is the mount that we will get for Lakshmi. Clearly it won't be a swimming mount, but you know, that's what it's going to be. Moving on. Hey, Hap, I'm curious, and the reason, you see we're going as fast as we are, I'm still just getting done with page 1, by the way. Hey, Hap, I'm curious about increased damage type buffs and increased critical type buffs. Do they affect dots and limit breaks? So increased damage buffs, meaning raging strikes, blood for blood, or increased critical hit rate buff like internal release. Those will affect damage over time abilities if those buffs are on you prior to applying the damage over time. It's what's called a snapshot effect, where all of your buffs are affect the damage over time ability as long as they're on you when the damage over time effect is applied. Now keep in mind, if you buff after a damage over time effect is applied, it will not change it unless you reapply it. Also, abilities like increased slashing or decreased slashing resistance, those do not affect damage over time. It will only affect the initial damage of the blow. As for the limit break is not affected by any buffs, any debuffs at all. It can only be affected by, I believe it's the average item level of the weapons of the party. It might be the average item level of all players. It's been a long time since I've had to answer that question, so my memory on it's a little shaky. I'm pretty sure it's the combined weapon damage even of all of the party members' weapons. So if everyone has stronger weapons, the limit break itself gets stronger and scales with the content itself. Hopefully that is an adequate question or an adequate answer to your question. We are going to move on to the next page at this point. At least this is helping me with my breathing exercises, right? Because like I gotta breathe a lot when I'm just blazing through these questions right now. Just blaze. Anyway, next question. Konnichiwa, Mr. Happy-san. I don't know. First time on the forum, first time poster, long time viewer. Thank you. My question is about the new Hildibrand questline so far. What do you think about it as a general opinion? I like it. I didn't like 3.3, 3.2, or 3.1 Hildibrand. They weren't entertaining enough for me to forgive the fact that it's just story content with like no sort of real impact on the game. But 3.4's writing for the Hildibrand quest was stellar, and if that same quality of writing is applied going forward, I don't mind not getting new trials and stuff like that for the Hildibrand questline. But I would like it to feel like more effort is being put into the questline instead of it just kind of being there because we asked for it, which is really the only reason why it continued. But I guess that's our fault for asking for it for so much, and then them not really having the resources to prepare to make it better than it is. I think that the 2.x series Hildibrand was far superior. And you believe there'll soon be a Necromancer job? No. The Necromancer will probably never happen as a job. It's not really a Final Fantasy job. Yeah, it's a job in fantasy RPGs, but Final Fantasy is not known for the Necromancer, and it probably never will be, to be honest. Necromancers are usually enemies. It's usually a forbidden art. And considering this game is launched in China, this job would not be allowed probably in China. Of course, Skeleton mobs. The idea of showing skeletons in China is taboo. It's disrespectful to the dead. And that's true of a lot of countries in the world, but China's like one of the major ones that's true in. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that they will not develop content for us because it will not make it to China. But I think they're probably thinking of the grander picture, jobs that are in higher demand and jobs that will fit more worldwide. Like the gold saucer is already not allowed in China as is. But I don't think Necromancer will ever be a job in Final Fantasy XIV. The theme, maybe, but not the job itself. Moving on to the next question. Let's see. Hey, Hap, not my first question, but here's some leftover tinsel. Thank you. That is incredibly generous of you. I have two completely unrelated questions. Well, let's see. What would you say Final Fantasy XIV's weakest part? Remember, I said I can only take the first question, so we're going to stick to that. What would you say is Final Fantasy XIV's weakest part? The weakest part is probably the fact that while it has a great variety of content, if you don't take the time or you don't personally enjoy every different aspect, each of those individual aspects is quite shallow. And so that could mean if you just want to be a raider, you're probably going to be disappointed. If you just want to do Palace of the Dead, like that's the only thing, you'll probably get bored or disappointed at some point. You know, unless you're just somebody with a super addictive personality to a single activity, the shallowness and how deep each piece of content actually goes can be generally unsatisfying. But if you take the time to enjoy all of the activities, that sort of gets bypassed. Like me, what do I do log in every day? Beast Tribe quests, whether it's a Realm Reborn or Heaven's Ward, because I need to level them up for the new quest, or I'm trying to get materia to make Gil for the expansion, or I'm trying to level my desynthesis on my crafting, and I'm leveling my crafters at the same time by doing the Moogle Beast Tribe quests, which are then also getting me glass fibers that I can craft into luminous fibers, so I can get someone else to craft, and then I can sell those on the market board, or I can just sell the glass fibers altogether. I've got a weekly raid that I do, 4 bosses, easy, get it done in an hour, hour and a half, depending on how much people are actually paying attention, and then every raid tier, we get several hours of entertainment out of that as well. 24-man, every week, clear it, get materia, try to get one piece of gear. Obviously, if it's locked, if it's not locked, I'll just take whatever I can get. Play multiple jobs. I do maybe this roulette as a warrior, this roulette as an astro, this roulette as a dragoon, and I mix it up, so I'm not only playing one job all the time. If you don't take the time to enjoy every little different thing, you will probably floor out pretty quick, and that is definitely Final Fantasy XIV's weakest part when it comes to it as an MMO. Moving on to the next person's question, reply number 17. We are moving along pretty quickly at this point, but we're just barely over halfway. Moving on. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hope you had a great birthday and New Year's. I hope you had a happy New Year's and a happy holidays as well. I'm new to your channel, and I have recently played Final Fantasy 15 and absolutely loved it. And I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 for about 3 months, really enjoying that too, and I would love to get more into the Final Fantasy world. My questions for you today are, and I will take the first one, what Final Fantasy games do you recommend are a must-play? I guess the second question is, what should you avoid playing? And those kind of all fit into one question. I feel like all of the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasies are good plays. The Zodiac Age is coming out. Final Fantasy 12 remake, or I'm sorry, the Final Fantasy 12 remaster of the International Edition is called Zodiac Age, comes out. Final Fantasy 10 is also a good one. Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 4 solid. The only ones I would really avoid probably are Final Fantasies 2 and 3. 3 is the basis of the job system, but is, in my opinion, not a very good Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy 2 has just a wall of problems, in my opinion, as a Final Fantasy game, between a poorly put together plot, uninteresting story. It's the worst character progression system I've seen in a Final Fantasy game, although it is something that can be somewhat standard for other RPGs such as Dungeons and Dragons. It doesn't really feel like it fits well in the Final Fantasy landscape. Yeah, 2, 3, and I guess like 10-2, as good as the combat is, you'd probably avoid it because I just don't think you'll like it. But I guess those would be my up and down recommendations when it comes to the Final Fantasy franchise, if you want to get into it more as a whole. Moving into the next one, what's happening, Haps? I'm answering these questions at lightning speed. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god. Been a while since I've posted, so I have a bonus of 3 lines. Yet to get that, but I got 2 lines 2 weeks ago. Feels good, man. I bolded where the exact questions are. There's not much to tell anyway. So that's good because, obvious reasons. So, how did you progress to get to the end game of Record Keeper? So let me be clear, I just started playing Record Keeper again last week. To be honest, I am not at end game. I cannot do Ultimate Plus. I cannot do Ultimate Plus Plus. I can't even do Ultimate. I've 106 stamina. I'm working on characters that are level 60 to 70 right now, and I've been using Mithril to play it more. Mithril is the free currency that they give you. I've been just recharging my stamina with it. to get through the normal and elite mode progressions to increase my maximum stamina, so I can do things like the daily experience point quests or the daily orb quests, or when Orb Fest itself begins again, I have the opportunity to spam that because I have more stamina. So I wouldn't say I'm at endgame. I've just been progressing through the game naturally. When I get 50 mithril, okay, I'll do a relic draw for a banner if it's a banner that I actually need. Make sure you're relic drawing from a banner you want, please. But other than that, I wouldn't say I'm far enough to adequately educate you on getting to the end game of Record Keeper. I'm still barely even scratching the surface, even though I've been playing it like crazy this last week. But anyway, that's unfortunately the only question I can take from the for the obvious ones. Let's see. Next question. Hello, have a New Year bonus of a free nursery rhyme. My hat is round, round is my hat. If it's not my round, it's not my hat. My question, what is the one ability you absolutely want Red Mage to have in 14? Refresh. Basically an MP equivalent of Goad. That was an easy question. That was a very easy question. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Let's see, what do we got here? First time question on the forums, but more of a prediction I want to throw out there as an aha, called it, after 3.5. There will be potential spoilers. Honestly, considering the patch hasn't happened, I don't need to do the whole, it's 3.4 story spoilers. We as soon as 2 weeks after, as soon as we do the State of the Realm, the spoiler cut on that is done. So we're good. Do you think, as I do, that Alcé will be a red mage? No, she does not actually use a red mage weapon. She is a scholar that makes a sword of ether out of her book. She's done nothing to imply, or she's shown no sort of mastery in that of the magic crystal medium. And I think you also have to remember, as much as we sometimes like to refer to the main characters as jobs, like I've said that Raubon resembles a blue mage, for example, or Xenosia Galvus resembles a samurai, or you have Alphino and Alcé who are scholars, and you see them use Ruin, and you see them summon carbuncles, which implies, by the way, that they are arcanists, not scholars or summoners, even though they got Eggy Glamour. They were beta testing Eggy Glamour for us, let's be real. I don't think we can ever reliably say that. Just because she summoned a sword of ether out of her book, that is not what a red mage does. That does not define a red mage. That's just something that she did that's unique to her as a character. So no, I don't think she has any sort of tie to red mage whatsoever. Moving on to the next question. Let's see, a second question from me because I need attention. I can't do that. It's the same person as before. I'm sorry, I have to skip to the next question because we're trying to crunch time right now. So I got to move on to the next one. Ask it next week, though. Ask the same question next week. We'll be good. Hey, Haps. Hope you're having a good start of the new year. Got a Final Fantasy 15 question with a spoiler. Now, this, on the other hand, here's what we do. I take it off the screen, like so. I do this. When you see me do this again, that means the spoiler's done. Got it? So if you can read lips, I got nothing for you. I've got a fat beard in front of my face. Hopefully it makes my lips hard to read. All right, but anyway, spoiler alert for Final Fantasy 15. Those of you watching live, mute it if you don't want to know. Anyway, moving forward. So here it goes. Is it just me, or is Square Enix generally becoming the George R.R. Martin of game storylines? I was looking forward to post-game until I saw how it ends, and now I'm pawing around with my buds in the past. I can't stop thinking about the four of them crying around a campfire, Xanarkin style. And to be fair, it's just not Square. It just seems like a trend in modern storytelling, period. Is it too much to ask that after putting 60+ hours into a game that your character gets a traditional hero's ending? Or am I just not sophisticated enough to appreciate a good teenage death? I think it's a matter of preference. You know, I'm one who... I don't particularly enjoy the whole sacrifice yourself for the greater good aspect of storytelling nowadays. I feel like it's a very... It used to not be a cliche ending. Now it is a cliche ending. I feel like it's more cliche now than it used to be at the very least. I do like seeing the hero get his happy story, but that's kind of what I liked about 15. You got to see the hero make the sacrifice, and at the same time, you got to see him have a happy ending at the same time. So I kind of feel like, personally, like I got the best of both worlds when it came to Final Fantasy 15's ending. Even though it was still left up to interpretation, that's just the emotions that I was left with at the end of Final Fantasy 15. Now with that, we're going to do the usual. We're going to do thumbs up. Spoilers are over. I'm going to scroll past the question, even though I don't really feel like it was that... I guess, yeah, it's a pretty big spoiler. what it was. Moving on to the next one. There we go. Hey Haps, Happy New Year to you. I hope it will be another great year of streaming and content from you. I hope it'll be another great year. It has been fantastic so far. Even the YouTube side of things, like I like to talk to people about how January is generally the worst month for YouTube, and for a lot of YouTubers, you see them not push content as hard because January is the lowest paying month of the year for ad revenue, so YouTubers tend to not push as hard unless they absolutely need to. But you know, it's actually, this has been one of the best Januaries in terms of ad revenue, I feel like, in years. Just as somebody who does this as a profession and watches those kind of things, it's actually been fantastic. So I'm not complaining. It's been a great start to the new year, and it bodes well for the rest of 2017 as well. As someone who makes a living off that, that's always important. But I just produce content, and YouTube's kind of become secondary income to me from Twitch. So I'm just pleased at this point. It's just good omen from my opinion. So to the question, what are your thoughts on the Tales of series? So I do not have much intimacy with the Tales of series. It's another series like Grandia that was lost to me because I was so addicted to Final Fantasy XI in my high school / teenage years. I had a friend, here's my only experience with the Tales series. All right. A friend invites me to his house, Russell. He goes, hey, I need your help with this game. It's called Tales of Symphonia. And I go, okay, cool. What do you need? And he goes, okay, it's a multiplayer RPG. And I'm like, that's cool. I love that idea. And he's like, okay, I need you to heal, and I'm gonna play one of the other characters, and we gotta beat this boss. And I'm just like, okay, how tough is the boss? And he's like, he keeps killing me, and he keeps killing me like instantly. And I'm like, are you of an adequate level for said boss? And he's like, I think so, yeah. So I'm like, whatever. Give me the controller. Okay, we get into the fight. I immediately, as a healer, I make some distance because, you know, I'm making sure I'm not getting, you know, AoE'd like everyone else. He gets hit by the first attack and dies instantly with no way to heal. And I don't know what any of my buttons do, so maybe I had a protect and a shell spell or something. But he goes, you didn't heal me. And I go, you got hit by an attack with a giant marker on the ground and died. That is not my fault. Even in single-player multiplayer games, non-MMO multiplayer games, I guess I should call them, I'm getting yelled at for that shit. So that's my only experience with the Tales series. But it was a lot of fun. And after he died, I stayed alive for a pretty long time, dodging attacks. So it was good. Would recommend it. And Bestiary is on my radar, but it comes out the same fucking day as Kingdom Hearts. I think you know which one of the two I'm going to pick, but not to say I couldn't get to both of them at some point early on in the year. Now with that, I'm going to do a quick edit cut because I got to cough and I got to take a sip of coffee. So cut on YouTube. All right, I took a quick sip of water instead of coffee because that actually helps hydrate myself. Let's move on to the next question. Hey, Haps. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. The clues dropped. Sorry, you probably get these a lot. I'll try to keep it short. I will probably keep them short or point form and want to know your thoughts. Oh, okay. This is all the samurai stuff. This is all the samurai. Okay. I've answered this, just so you know, I've answered this a million times, probably every week since North American Fan Festival, and then every week after Japanese Fan Festival, we've talked about the clues that have been dropped between Scarlet Witch and the Spider-Man shirt and things like that. So I'm going to have to move past this one just because I've done it a million times. So that's just where I got to go with that one. All right, happy Heavenstern. To celebrate, here are some awesome rice balls, green tea, amazing Japanese tea snacks, and a relaxing 1 hour sitting in front of a real-life Shishiodoshi under cherry blossom tree. Oh, so peaceful. And when I say relaxing, I mean your mind is free from constantly thinking about streaming videos, etc. In your dreams. Anyway, to the questions. Whew, you got a lot of them, and I'm sorry, but I can only take the first one this week. Once upon a time, I stumbled upon Blade and Soul videos on your YouTube channel. What made you stop playing, and would you go back? So what made me stop playing was the sheer amount of time dedication that MMO in particular needed to stay up to date. On top of that, I wasn't vastly interested in PvPing in that game, and while I know they do release PvE in that game, every patch pretty much has something PvE. If it's a 4-man and a 6-man dungeon, recently they finally added the 24-man raids from the Korean version. Don't get me wrong, that's all great. But the amount of time of just 12 hours a day doing fucking dailies. I couldn't take it anymore. And I was doing sponsored deals for the game at the time too. I went to a company and said, hey, I plan on playing Blade and Soul. Are you guys doing anything? They said, yeah. Hooked me up with a sponsorship for the game, which yes means I was paid to make certain videos. Not paid to make certain videos. I was paid to make videos, and I then made certain videos that were sponsored. And I was in the middle of a sponsorship, and I went to the company and I was like, I can't, man. I can't keep playing this game. I can't do it, man. I need to know how we can organize this, because I couldn't take the dailies anymore. I just couldn't take any more dailies. I couldn't do it, man. But as for these other questions, there are actually some really good ones in here. Unfortunately, like I said, I made the promise 1 question per person this week because of the sheer volume of questions. So hopefully next week it's a little less crazy. You can ask the first question again. We'll see what happens. Anyway, moving on to the next question. Hey, Haps. Hey, what's going on, man? Long-time viewer here, haven't posted in a long time and just wanted to put this out there. Can we expect early access for Stormblood like we had for Heavensward? I actually don't think they'll do it this time. Not because they haven't told us yet. I don't know. I think they want to give everyone a fair shot to play it at the same time. I think that it was a really good pre-order bonus, but I don't know. Just something in me doesn't expect it this time around. Ever since we knew we were getting the Stormblood, they told us, here's Fan Festival, we're going to be gearing up for the expansion. I never once thought, I can't wait for early access again. And then somebody brought it up and I was like, oh yeah. No, I don't think we'll have it this time. I just immediately answered, I don't think we'll have it. And I still don't. I don't know what it is. I just don't think it's a reward they're going to offer for pre-ordering Stormblood this time. We'll see. I'm more than welcome to be wrong. Maybe we do end up getting it. But I think that we're just going to get what they've already revealed and not early access for the Friday before this time. Anyway, moving forward, happy week before 3.5. Thank you. Yes, we have 9 days, 8 days from when you guys are seeing this on YouTube. Have your choice of the job teased by the Spider-Man shirt. So, Blue Mage. Sorry, I just want to piss off at this more than anyone when I say that. I really do. Here are my questions. For Machinist, how do you plan your skill assignments in the hotbars? I have a Naga mouse. I have set 1 hotbar for the mouse, 1 for 1 to 10, 1 for F1 to F12. I never use F1 to F12, ever. But that's just me. RTF, I use all of those. RTF. G I use for my my pet actions, actually, for when I do play like Scholar and Summoner. So I actually do this. I do Shift, I do 1 through 6. Shift 1 through 6. Alt 1 through 6. Mouse buttons 1 through 7. RTF and Shift mouse buttons 1 through 6. I do my main shots, my 5 main shots on Shift 1 through 6. I forget what I actually have on 6. I may not actually have anything. I might just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that. For Shift 1, oh man, what is Shift 1? That's not reassemble, is it? No, Shift 2 is reassemble. What is Shift 1? Shift 3 is quick reload. Shift 2 is reassemble. Shift 1 has got to be like something I don't use very frequently, but off the top of my head, actually, I'm forgetting what I even have on Shift 1. I know I have my AoEs on Alt 3 and 4. On Alt 1, I think Alt 2 is Ricochet. I don't remember what Alt 1 and Shift 1 are for me. I'm sorry, not Alt, Control. Shift and Control, not Alt. My bad. My chat just reminded me what my own keybinds are. Shift 1 through 6, Control 1 through 6. So Control 2 is Ricochet. I should probably just make a video on this, because I could sit here for the next 45 minutes and talk about this on its own. But basically, all my ammo on the main 1 through 5. Most of my cooldowns on the mouse buttons 1 through 7. All my turret control is Shift mouse buttons, with Shift 1 and Shift 4 being each of the turrets. Shift 2 being whatever it's called. What's the name? I can't remember. The hypercharge. That's the one. And then I have like RT and F. Like R is reload. Shift 3 is quick reload. And I just have my buffs moved all over the place. It's really confusing to explain without having the hotbar in front of me. So that's the best I can do. But I don't use F1 through 12, and I don't use the mouse buttons as much as I use just Shift and Control modifiers. So I'm gonna have to. That's gonna have to be its own thing, because otherwise, without having it in front of me, we're gonna be here all day. Moving on to the next one. Hey, how, bro? What's going on, man? So I'm planning on buying a PS4 Pro for 15 sooner or later. First of all, don't buy it just for 15, please. Buy it just because you want it and not just for one game, because you can just get a regular PS4 for just one game. But because I'm very patient, I can wait until the game is complete. Haha. But when would you say the game is complete enough to start playing? Probably after episode Prompto? Because after episode Prompto, the last major paid DLC for the Season Pass is the multiplayer. And I don't know that that's really kind of its own experience. I don't know that that's a complete experience. That's part of the complete experience. That's not something I would really say. I know that you're talking about the Final Fantasy 15 deep in the story and adjust Chapter 13, but we don't even have it. We don't know when that's going to happen. We don't know what they're going to do. We know they want to add in some cutscenes with one of the other characters. But I mean, that's it. We don't know. There's no timeline. If those headlines aren't telling you when it's happening, I can't tell you when it's happening. So when it happens, there you go. That's when you'd probably be best off buying it. Let's see. On to the next one. How many do I have left? I think I have 3 or 4 questions left. We actually made it through these pretty quick. Hey, what's up? Just had an adventure through Bujirba, and now I'm at King's Grave. What am I playing? Final Fantasy 15? No, that's 12. No, but seriously, it doesn't matter what the final boss of 12 is going to be, because the true enemy is still the camera. But now on to the question. With the lack of a physical sword-wielding damage dealer like Tidus or Squall, or even Noctis, even more to count, what would be that role-fulfilling job? Red Mage has a sword. They might cast spells with the magic medium, but Red Mage has a sword. I know what you mean. You want someone who's you could always kind of move those into, like, Tidus is a thief, for example. You know, I know Riku is really the thief, but a lot of people I know built Tidus like a thief. He's kind of like your traditional warrior in a sense. He's just like warrior, whatever. Squall, traditional warrior, but he's got a gunblade. All the main characters are just fucking warriors. That's all they are, all right? And they all have swords, and they're all fucking warriors, all right? That's it. This because warrior is like the most basic bitch job in the original Final Fantasy 1, and that's what they're all warriors, all right? So warrior. Just warrior, Felcleave. I think your role-fulfilling job will be good. We are getting sword-wielding DPS, even if they do have the magic with the Red Mage, but that is what it is. Anyway, moving on, we have one more page to scroll down through here with just a few questions, and we are good to go. Hey! What's up? First-time question, so I have an Aquapolis loot drop of your choice. Wool top. Question for Mr. Happy Mondays. Being the start of a new year, a lot of gamers are probably not in the best physical shape IRL. That's a pretty generic statement to make. It's kind of fucked up, but I'll roll with it. I remember you doing Mr. Happy workout motivational videos in the past. Would you consider doing these again? Well, that's more of I kind of need to just take care of this as a whole. But the biggest thing for me is I don't have a very good means of recording them anymore. And I kind of want to live stream going to the gym, but the gym where I live and my phone service kind of don't match well. It's kind of shit service there, so I'd probably not be able to actually maintain a live stream. So it's kind of a tough one. I'd probably need another service provider just to do that, and I may actually do that just for that one's sake as a whole. But that's what I got. That's the answer that I got for that one. Moving on to the next one. Hey, Haps, how's it going? I popped up a few times in your Twitch chat on occasion. First time I checked the question, so first time bonus of $50 voucher to a restaurant of your choice. This man knows his job. Anyway, my question. The 3.5 trailer revealed that they should likely be bringing back some 1.x era music for the Sumall dungeon. Yes, the theme there was Quicksand from 1.0 Thanolin. Whilst new music is good, some of the old music was really top-notch. I completely agree. What was your favorite 1.0 piece? You know, I actually have always been in love with every Thanolin theme. Quicksand is actually one of the ones that sits at the top of my list. And a lot of the 1.0 themes that were used sort of once Yoshi P took over, things for like Ifrit and Garuda and whatnot, still sit as top-tier music choices on my list a lot of the times. But Quicksand is actually one of my favorite 1.0 themes. I'd say it probably is my favorite theme that hasn't already been introduced. So yeah, I was really happy to hear that in Sumall. I didn't actually remember it was called Quicksand until everyone started calling it that. I just remember calling it the 1.0 Thanolin theme. That's what I called it, to be honest. And I'm really happy to have that back. So good on you, Sumall. Good on you. I think this is the last form question, and then I could do some questions from the Twitch chat itself, and I don't need to rap God anymore for that. Anyway, let me just scroll up at the top of this question. Hey, Mr. Happiden, what's happy? I'm happy. No, I am happy. Yeah. Okay. So I just finished leveling Monk recently with the announcement of Stormblood for possible extra scenes in the main scenario with Widargelt, which is not how his name is pronounced, but I like pissing at this off. And I'm loving it. Looking to take into Savage as my secondary job, and there's something I'm uncertain about. In situations like A9 Savage, where several ads spawn at once that need to be burned down quickly but have decent HP, what is the most effective method to beat them down? Should Monks be using their third stance conal AoE with the off global cooldown AoEs, or just pick off one at a time? Generally, on A9 Savage, we either A, don't even ask our monk to involve themselves in that unless they really want to pad their DPS, because the TP expenditure in A9 Savage, unless you're killing it in like sub 3 minutes, is pretty fucking annoying. Even if you have a ninja, it's annoying. But most of the time, they throw, if anything, a single Rock Breaker into that AoE pack. If one of their off global cooldowns comes up, like Elixir Field or Howling Fist, yes, they will use it there. I've also seen them save it for there. But honestly, in the first 30 seconds, you should be able to use Elixir Field and then have Elixir Field back up for when those ads come up. Just thinking about that fight in general. If it's a fight where it's a desperate need to kill those ads and they are incredibly powerful, yeah, as a monk, you'd probably be saving your AoEs, or you'd be timing them in such a way in the fight where the AoEs are coming up during the kill phase for those things. But otherwise, you pretty much will just one Rock Breaker. You stay on the boss, by the way, and just aim the Rock Breaker to hit everything else. And then if any of your other AoEs come up, you just use them right there. Like you would normally. You wouldn't, you're not pooling those to save for a moment. You're using them right there. So that's really the best advice I could give in that front. Anyway, now that I rap-godded my way through all the questions on the forums, I still want to do a couple of questions from the stream itself, and I can't do too many because this video is going on way too long because of the sheer ridiculous number of questions on the forums this week. So, Twitch chat, you got 2 chances here. Give me 2 good questions. Don't fuck it up. Alright, let's see. Alright, so the first question we're going to take from the Twitch chat, it says, "Hey Haps, on the theme of live streaming from the gym," one of the questions I just answered before, have you ever considered doing a second YouTube channel for non-gaming content? So I am someone who doesn't personally agree too much with the whole second channel thing. The thing is, my channel is my brand. You know, they're my products, they're my video creations. That is ultimately the home of my videos. And yes, I know it's Mrhappy Gaming all the time. Even if I were to go to the gym, I would somehow make it a fucking game. Knowing me. So no, I'm not really I feel like it makes that only really makes a lot of sense if you're talking like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like if you're somebody who has like a main channel of 900,000 subscribers, right? And then you're like, well, I want to start doing these different videos, but I don't know that people in these 900,000. And then you got to go tell those 900,000 to go sub to another channel. Now they're getting notifications from 2 different channels that they're subscribed to. And I feel like it just adds up. Ultimately, if you're confident in your brand and you're confident in your channel, you should be able, I feel, to create whatever you want, unless you're somebody who creates such a vast variety. Like, a good achievement is Rooster Teeth. You know, they have the Rooster Teeth podcast. They have, their mini-series. Those are on the Rooster Teeth channel. And then for people who just want Let's Plays, they have the Achievement Hunter channel. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. They have the Let's Play channel, and then they had the Achievement Hunter channel. I don't even know how many channels Rooster Teeth has at this point. I feel like unless you're someone with that kind of size and volume and that many different people creating that many different projects, I don't think it's worth creating multiple channels just to differentiate yourself. Thank you for 2016. That's not a video that's about video games at all. It's about me and the respect and the appreciation I have for people on my channel. I wouldn't put that on a different channel, but it still follows kind of the same guidelines. As long as I'm the center of the content, I feel like it being all in one place is a much better idea than splitting it up, even if it's to differentiate it topic-wise. But that was a good question. All right, and the only other question I'm going to really take from the chat, I actually have so many good questions I wish I could take, but I had good questions in the forums that I had to miss as well, so that's the way the cookie crumbles. Happy, how do you feel about the way raids or dungeons are done in 14? Would you like Square to implement a rare random drop in Dungeons raids? I've always liked the idea of raids dropping materials that can be used in synthesis. I've been promoting it since literally 2.1. I don't think it's bad. I mean, I know some people would be upset that there's this material only raiders can get to. Crafters have no power whatsoever. They're gathering, they're crafting, they can't get it. They have to rely on people who are actually active raiders in order to get the materials. I don't see anything fundamentally wrong with that. I mean, we have to rely on crafters to get certain items. We can't just get half of the good items that we like eat or the potions we drink without relying on them. I don't see why the dependence the other way around is such a bad thing for the balance of the game itself. I mean, even recipes, like I've been promoting, put recipes in raids that people can sell and then make them raid relevant, you know, but it's going to cost millions and millions for people to make these things. They're not just going to flood the market with these low priced, high quality raid tier items. You know, I feel like it's something to promote. I get it. It's more exciting if I see a recipe drop from like A10 Savage. I'm like, holy shit, we got the recipe drop. It feels good. Endorphins. I also like the idea of things like the Accursed Horde kind of being in dungeons. I just don't want the Accursed Horde theme to be overused, where, you know, at the beginning of a dungeon you're told there's a treasure chest, there's a treasure chest hidden there, and upon opening the treasure chest you get an item, you can go appraise it. It could be materia, or they could make it a mount or minion or whatever. I don't know, whatever they want to do. But I feel like it adds a little bit more excitement. When you go into that dungeon, if you get told that it's there somewhere and there is a way to reveal it that you need to figure out, I'm cool with that. You know, maybe it's one enemy, maybe it's an enemy off on the side, or maybe it's in a room people don't usually visit, and then people have to take the extra time to decide if they want to get the reward versus the other thing. But I know that like that kind of goes against a big portion of what they've described as people feeling like they need to go down paths that are not necessary, something they've tried to avoid. But it's on a personal wish list, to be honest. It's not things I think they need to do, it's things I would like to see, things I would expect them to eventually consider, but not anything I feel is mandatory to the game itself. But there's a whole laundry list of things that I could go over that I wish we had that we don't have, and I could be here all day for that one. I'd also like to see raids stop being separated into 4 instances. I don't know if they have the technology to do it, but I would like to see that at some point, so it's not like boss fight, leave, boss fight, leave, boss fight, leave. It just feels so disconnected, you know what I mean? And that's a problem for me. I don't like feeling disconnected. But anyway, that's going to be the last question for Mondays with Mr. Happy for this week. Sorry we had so many questions that we had to miss a bunch of actually really good ones. So hopefully next week will be a little bit tamer, and I doubt that's true because, Jesus Christ, did you see how many questions we had this week? It was crazy. But anyway, videos at the bottom. Again, we had some great video views this week. Thank you everyone for watching some of the videos with screenshots, with the bestiary, with the trailer reaction, the discussion. It's been really good, and hopefully we can hold that strong going into next week. Don't forget, by the way, State of the Realm is not Tuesday this week. It is not going to be on YouTube on Wednesday either. We are recording it live on Friday, because that's when the patch notes, we'll be going over the patch notes. And then on Saturday, it'll be available on YouTube and iTunes and all that other stuff. So just a little reminder right here. Hopefully you guys remember, and I don't get asked a million times. I'm going to get asked a million times still. All the same, that's what my career entails. Anyway, I'm going to spend a few more minutes with you guys over on the Twitch side, but on the YouTube side of things, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.